Okay, we're just going to do a quick walkthrough on doing the putting the V8 in the Capri. Mark 1 Capris aren't much different to Mark 2s, so I'm going to start front and work backwards. Firstly, obviously up front is cooling. The radiator we're using is off a Porsche 944. I use these because they are a V8 and they're quite powerful. So they're pretty good. I mean, these engines boil water for fun. So you've got a 944 radiator. The problem with these is, well, the problem with radiators is getting them in the width-wise. The 944 one fits in okay. It's using for cooling fans off a Transit, so it's double fanned. And also we've got the old fan off the that's come off the original Capri and bolted that onto the original water pump down there, and that fits quite nicely in there. Also it draws air through for carburetor so that you've got fresh air coming in all the time. The cowling's off the old Capri radiator. The side, the header tank is up hidden under the wing. It's off a Clio, and then the pipes go forward underneath and then come into the radiator. There's also a header one which goes in behind the headlamp that feeds the air out, and the bonnet cable is also run under here, because you'll see when you look under the bonnet there's no wires. I've kept them to a minimum, but that works pretty fine. It needs a bottle for the overflow pipe, but other than that, that seems to be working brilliantly. Standard thermostat housing, standard thermostat. The engine on this car is standard. I haven't moved anything on the engine or modified anything. I have put a better ignition system. This is the GM ignition system. You can buy these on the internet with the conversion. They're about 150 quid. They make a 50,000 volt spark, so it's pretty much what you need anyway. Bracing bar is just tubular steel. You'll see later that that's used to hold the gearbox up as well, that sort of width, and it's also used for the steering part of the steering rack. The power steering pump is off Capri 2.9 or 2.8, I can't remember which one, but it's the standard one. The bottom pulley is modified slightly in that it's usually 3-ringed, but I've took one ring off to make it fit in. Let's go underneath and have a look from there. It makes it easier access, easier input and getting it out. The hoses are a bitch botch of all sorts of different things. The sump is off a truck. It's a double sump, so it goes over the cross member. So you've got a sump here at the front and then another one at the back. You get quite good clearance on these, and you need it if you're going to put the rack in that I've put in. This is quite a big job. I don't know if I'd do it again, but because of all the pipe work and everything, you have to modify this side engine mounting quite a lot. I've tried not to go to bodywork at all with engine mountings, but that's a Renault Traffic and gearbox mounting that I've used there, and then boxed it all in with the same sort of box steel as what I've used up there on the cross member. You have to move it over quite a lot, because you have to get the clearance on the exhaust, which I'll show you up there later. But you shorten this side track rod end, and then you use off the old steering rack the other, and put an add-on in to make that a bit longer, and then set it up accordingly with adjustable bottom arms. Going back to the exhaust side, so you've got the exhaust here, and you can see there that it gets very close to the steering. You have to move it as it goes through the bulkhead to the left, which means making your steering a little bit off, but you can't tell anyway. But just move it to the left a little bit, bring your steering rack all the way across, and you'll get good clearance on them exhausts on that side. Whilst we're over this side, I don't know if any of you recognise, the braking system's been updated, because you can't get a servo in because of the clutch cable coming out of the side there, which you have to make your own clutch cable. It's a little bit longer than the standard one, but that's off a Sierra, one that has ABS. But all you do is you put the pump, you wire that up to the brake light switch, and every time you put your brakes on it, it pumps this servo up, and it's a reservoir. It just keeps the pressure in there, so there's no problem if your brake lights aren't working or whatever. It just keeps it in there for some time. Coming back round to this side, we've got a standard engine mounting onto the standard cross member mounting. So that's pretty easy to do. You just have to elongate one of the holes, and I'll show you that underneath in a bit. The oil filter, I put a remote oil filter on for the simple reason we've got a well, I'll show you in a bit. You've got a thermostatically controlled fan switch there, so you can adjust that as you need to. Now the oil filter is up under here. I don't know if you can see this very well, but the oil filter's up there, and I've got an oil cooler as well under this wing behind this mesh. That's off a Mitsubishi 4x4, I think it is, but most of the 4x4 cars have a decent oil cooler that'll go in there, and then obviously the pipes go under there. The wiring's in the chassis, which you can see there as it comes along from the inside of the car to the back, to the front, sorry. Now let's have a look underneath, sorry. So, we aren't making you too dizzy. The modified clutch cables there. The heat shield in here is to cover the fuel pipes, which I'll show you where we run those in a bit. That's the back pan for the sump, and you can tell it's off a truck because it's got the level indicator hole in the side of the pan. That's a good indicator of what it's off. The mounting for the gearbox, that's the cross member that we made and bolted to the floor. You have to make your own, reinforce the flooring to make that fit, but it's just a bit of cross member, using the original gearbox mounting on that one. Also put the air strap on there as well, and this is the power lead coming across. We've got a cut-off switch inside the car, which is there, which is live cut-off, so if you can isolate the battery feed, which is in the boot as it comes through, to stop it shorting out. If it shorts out at all, you can cut it all off. These are the modified exhausts. The valves are here and one at each side, and the exhaust joins together there. I can't remember what they were called. There you go, bank up, whatever it's called. Valves. These are progressive valves. They're not open and close. That you can set it to whatever opening that you want to as you go along. It's a motor rather than an on-off switch. And then the exhaust goes to the back. The prop shaft was welded up by a good mate of mine. He welded at this end. So we've got the Mustang input here, and then we've got the obviously Capri back end over there for the joint for the axle. At the moment I'm using a bicycle pickup for the electric pickup for the Speedo, because the Speedo drive doesn't match the clocks that I've got on the car. Also what we've got here is a remote solenoid switch for the starter motor, because obviously that has a remote. There's a nice view there of the mountings for the power steering rack, which you have to make a big hole because they're all pipes that go to it. Let's have a look in the boot. You can see where everything is. So the springs on the back are modified because obviously you've got a bit more weight going in. You've got adjustable springs on front, and then you've added another leaf into these here, so they're the 4-leaf now. That's an Atlas axle, which is a bit stronger, so I gather. But coming to the back, it's got the standard exhaust all the way back, and it makes it nice and quiet. In the boot we've got here, so we've got the battery, the washer bottle, the fuel pump and the fuel filter. They all feed to the front. They go in behind here, and they come out. They go under the seat in the back, and they come out here under the tunnel, and then they come forward to the front. So you've got all in there. You've got the washer bottle, the power supply from the battery, and the fuel pipe from the fuel pump, all going to the front. The handbrake had to be modified slightly because it's further up the handbrake cable. Used to have an old hook system, but drilled and put that further up. Other than that, the thing's fairly standard. The clocks, you can use the same clocks because you can adjust the tackle on these to use a V8, V6 or straight 4. There's a little screw on the back of there that you adjust it with. Inside you've got I fitted a fuel cut-off switch. That's off a Renault. Most cars have got that type of thing anyway. And that's the ignition, the battery cut-off switch as well. The seats are off a Momo. They're Alfa Romeo. They're very, very similar. Now they're the new seats, and they're the old seats, so they're a pretty good match, to be honest with you, with the old Ford seats. I hope that helps. If there's anything else you want to know, just give me a call and I'll hopefully help you out. Thank you. Bye bye.